You might think the biggest payouts in Florida car accident cases go to people with the most severe injuries or the clearest proof the other driver was at fault. But after handling thousands of claims, I've seen something very different. The people who win big are the ones who know exactly how the system works from day one. And if you don't, you could miss deadlines, lose benefits, or even have your injuries, or even have your claim dismissed entirely by the insurance company. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 specific moves that make a Florida car accident case claim smoother, faster, and far more likely to succeed. So you can protect your rights, avoid the traps insurers set, and put yourself in the best position to get the full compensation you deserve. Hi, I'm attorney Pablo Tamayo, and I've been practicing law in the state of Florida for almost 2 decades. And after handling thousands of these cases over the years, I want you to know exactly what steps to take from day one. The very first secret to making your Florida car accident claim easy is to get medical attention right away, even if you aren't catastrophically injured. Florida law is very specific about this. Under Florida statute 627.736, you must receive initial medical services within 14 days after the accident to qualify for personal injury protection benefits. If you miss that window, your insurance company can deny your PIP claim entirely. Now, here's the part most people don't realize. You're not just getting treatment for your health. You're also creating the very evidence your claim will rely on. Every doctor's note, every diagnostic image, prescription, everything medically documented is a building block for your case. The insurance company is going to ask, where's the proof? And your medical records are the answer. I've seen cases where the client waited weeks to get checked out, and the insurance adjuster used that gap to argue that the injury wasn't caused by the accident at all. Don't give them that opening. Start treatment right away. Follow through on every recommended appointment, and keep your own copies of the records in a folder. When I say document everything, I mean everything. The accident scene, the vehicles involved, the weather, the traffic signals, the road conditions, and of course, your injuries as they progress. Photos and videos taken right after the crash can be just as valuable as a doctor's report. Under Florida's modified comparative negligence rule, found in Florida Statute 768.81, if you're found partially at fault for the accident, your compensation will be reduced by your percentage of fault, as long as you're not more than 50% at fault. That means the more evidence you have showing the other driver's negligence, the less room there is for the insurance company to shift blame onto you. Case in point. In one case I handled, my client's quick photos of the scene and resting points of the vehicles completely disproved the other driver's version of events. Without that, the case would have strictly boiled down to a he said, she said situation. So, right after the crash, if it's safe, take out your phone and capture everything you can. If you think the detail is minor, document it. Small details can become major evidence later in your case. Florida is a no-fault state for auto accidents, which means your own PIP coverage will pay for certain losses up to your policy limit, regardless of who caused the crash. But that doesn't mean you can just casually tell your insurance company everything you think happened. The adjuster is not your friend. Their job is to minimize the payout. You are required to promptly notify your insurer of the accident, but keep your statement factual and concise. Who, what, when, and where. And leave the why and the how for later, after you've spoken with legal representation. I had a case where a client casually mentioned to the adjuster that they were driving the speed limit. When asked what the speed limit was, they answered, I think it was 40 miles per hour. So you were driving 40 miles per hour? Yes, I guess. Well, it turns out the speed limit was 30 miles per hour. That single sentence became the insurer's main focus to reduce the settlement under the comparative negligence statute. You don't want to give them that ammunition. Remember, the law requires truthfulness, but it doesn't require you to speculate and lock yourself into damaging information that may not even be true, especially before you've had proper legal guidance. One of the biggest misconceptions in Florida car accident cases is that PIP is your only option. It's not. Florida Statute 627.737 allows you to pursue a claim for pain and suffering against the at-fault driver if you've suffered a permanent injury. That includes significant and permanent loss of an important bodily function, permanent injury, significant and permanent scarring, or disfigurement, or even death. This is where knowing the threshold matters. If your injuries meet that definition, you can step outside the no-fault system and file a claim for non-economic damages like pain and suffering that are not covered by your PIP. Permanent injury is usually proven in court through medical expert testimony by at least one of the doctors that has treated you for your injury. Without that testimony, you may not be able to recover beyond PIP. If you are injured in an accident, don't wait until your PIP benefits are exhausted to explore your options. Starting that process early can make the transition smoother and prevent gaps in your treatment. Now, I know this next part might sound predictable coming from a lawyer, but it's the truth. Having experienced legal representation early on is one of the most effective ways to make your Florida car accident case easier. The accident claim process involves multiple moving parts: medical treatment and bills, insurance adjusters, liability investigations, experts, and sometimes filing a lawsuit. Each one has its own deadlines and pitfalls. Miss a deadline under Florida statute of limitations, which is generally 2 years for negligence cases under the updated law in Florida, and you can lose your right to recover entirely. Beyond just meeting deadlines, a good lawyer will also shield you from direct communication with the insurance companies, gather the evidence in the right format, hire expert witnesses when needed, and calculate the full value of your claim so you're not leaving money on the table. I can't count how many times clients have come to me months after trying to handle a claim themselves, frustrated and overwhelmed because the adjuster kept asking for more documentation without really making an offer. When we step in, we cut through that game playing and we get the claim moving towards a resolution. So let's recap. If you want to make your Florida car accident claim as easy as possible, first, get medical attention right away and keep a complete record. That protects both your health and your eligibility for PIP. Second, document every detail: injuries, scene, and all conditions surrounding the accident. This evidence can be the difference between winning and losing. Third, notify your insurance promptly, but stick to the facts and avoid speculation and consider legal representation before doing so. Fourth, know when your injuries allow you to step outside the no-fault system and pursue a broader claim for damages. Fifth, bring in experienced legal help early so you can manage the process and prevent costly mistakes. When you follow these 5 steps, you're not just making your claim easier, you're putting yourself in the strongest position to recover fully and fairly under Florida law. If you've been in a car accident here in Florida, you now have the 5 secrets to making the process smoother, less stressful, and more successful. But there's one thing we haven't talked about yet, and it's the reason so many people end up frustrated with their settlements. Insurance companies are experts at lowballing. They have playbooks designed to pay you less than your claim is worth. And if you don't know how to counter those tactics, you could lose thousands of dollars. That's exactly what we're going to cover in the next video. 5 tips to stop insurance from lowballing you after a car accident. In that video, I'll walk you through the exact negotiation strategies I use to protect my clients from the most common insurance traps. If you want to make sure all of your hard work, gathering evidence, and following the right steps actually pays off, you can't afford to miss it. I'll see you over there.